I have decided to put the Minister of Police, Mr. Senzo Mchunu, on leave of absence with immediate effect. The Minister has undertaken to give his full cooperation to the Commission to enable it to work properly.
A way that will degrade and undermine its poor majority. We are so disappointed at President Ramaphosa for calling the media briefing to tell the country that Minister Mchunu is going to be put on a special leave and the establishment of a commission of inquiry. Ramaphosa knows that the report of commissions are delivered at the desk and gather the dust. In an urgent a criminal matter that does not require a reporting between 3 and 6 months by any commission, most of the commission are used as a haven and protection racket for those close to President Ramaphosa. Crime is exposed now and action must be taken 3 months from now. Why? Is he acts openly against the minister? He is complicit and must be taken to task. We believe that Palapala saga, it's having been a bearing in a President Ramaphosa, contradiction, reluctance, and to act against Mchunu and Lieutenant General Nhlanhla. As a minister who is at all center of one of the biggest crime scene, is put on special leave by his boss. No case open for a minister to interfere with the police investigation and collude with business people, and they accuse in an insult to poor majority. We cannot buy influence to disband a politically killing task team based in KZN shows that this many lead by public representatives that we know. This is not for the first time that the police minister is fingered in abetting criminal activity. It was there the other time. It was Begikele, the flyers who was openly hobnobbed with criminals. A minister who was the first to arrive in many high-profile crime scene. Was it normal? Was this normal?
This is very, very, very disappointing. Remember, everything rises and falls on leadership. If we don't have leaders in our country, people, they will always do whatever they think it is right on their own eyes. I mean, we totally reject the issues of commissions. I think, if I'm not mistaken, probably for the past 10 years, we had run about 11 commissions. And the one that I can think of that really made some sense is the SARS one. But the rest have never been, giving us some results. I hear now that these gentlemen, which I don't have a problem with them, they are qualified, they are lawyers, and they've done that before. But what are the results? There's nothing productive in these commissions. As devoted citizens, we are very concerned in this country. Now, let us remind the nation.
Yep.
Every year, over 27,000 people are murdered in this country. 75 people every day die in this country. Now, if we're going to have a Department of Police, our judiciary acting like this, what are we going to say to the criminals out there? Our leaders are not taking us seriously. It is very disappointing, especially for the president. We thought after they've gone down to 40%, they would learn from this, but it sounds like they are not learning. Let me bring another matter here.
Yep.
Just a few days ago, he fired the Minister of DA. Now, why this time, we don't apply the same principles? Who's fooling who here? I strongly believe we are taken for granted as citizens, and then our government does not take us seriously. We are very concerned. We cannot live like this, especially now when people who are supposed to enforce the law and they are compromising the very same law that they must enforce.
The long-awaited address by the President of South Africa on the explosive allegations raised by KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi against Police Minister Senzo Mchunu was finally made yesterday, but it left the nation in disbelief. Many hoped for decisive action, justice, and a bold stand against corruption. Instead, what they got was a soft, vague statement and a decision that has shaken the public and political fraternity alike. Special leave, that's what President Cyril Ramaphosa offered the embattled minister. Not suspension, not removal, not prosecution, just a special leave. Now, South Africans are asking, why? Why spare him? Why not act on evidence that's public, overwhelming, and damning?
On the 26th of March 2025, this year, a total of 121 case dockets that were under investigation were taken away from the task team as directed by a Deputy National Commissioner Crime Detection, a Lieutenant General Sibia, who was acting on the instruction of the Minister of Police to disband the team. This was done without the authority of the National Commissioner, nor I, as a Provincial Commissioner, was never informed. These case dockets have since March been sitting at the head office ever since, without any investigation work done on them. 5 of these dockets had already instruction to arrest perpetrators, but nothing has been done because a Lieutenant General Sibia, being instructed by the minister, or well, executing instruction of the minister, withdrew all these dockets and they are sitting in archive in his office in Pretoria. God knows why. Therefore, only a total of 112 dockets which are still in court, of which 54 of them are political related and others will include parallel ad hoc, as well as the dockets that are involving the incident at Fort Hare University, and 5 of them are traditional leadership, are still with the team at this present moment. In the year 2024, a request was received from Gauteng Organized Crime Investigating Unit to assist with the investigation to dismantle the organized crime syndicate that was operating in Gauteng, that was controlled in Gauteng but operating in the rest of the country and in neighboring countries. I, as a Provincial Commissioner, took a decision to deploy 10 members from this political killings task team to go and support this organized crime unit in Gauteng. I can tell South Africans that this decision was a cause for the disbandment letter of this team, because they overstepped their mandate of only focusing in KZN. They went to support Gauteng organized crime unit with the dismantling of a criminal syndicate. And I can confirm before the South Africans today that the investigation which these members were involved with in Gauteng has unmasked the syndicate. And this syndicate involves, amongst others, politicians who are currently serving in Parliament. The law enforcement officers include the members of the South African Police Service, the Metro Police, and Correctional Services. They include prosecutors in Gauteng province, the judiciary, and all these are controlled by the drug cartel as well as business people in that province of Gauteng. This act, of course, undermines the criminal justice system in this country. Mr. Brown Mokhotsi sends a WhatsApp message to myself, Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, regarding the allegation on the defeating the ends of justice matters which were widely publicized, which involves an incident that happened at the Correctional Service at Mpangeni in KwaZulu-Natal. Mr. Brown sends this message in September last year, long before the news came out in public about the incident that happened at Mpangeni. He sends this message. In this message that he sends to the Provincial Commissioner, he attaches a police letter and he attaches a copy of the occurrence book, a register that is used at the police station that's supposed to only be accessed by police officers. But Mr. Brown, who's not a police officer, attaches those in his message and he sends it to the Provincial Commission. His word says there is a plot to charge you. Mr. Brown Mkhwanazi also sends a screenshot of a presentation that was made on the 30th of September 2024, a presentation that was titled 2024-2025 Division Crime Intelligence Policies. He sends this to myself, Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, as a Provincial Commissioner of KwaZulu-Natal. Surely this must have been a classified information where crime intelligence are presenting their policies. But this man has access to that, and he's not a policeman. When asked to share the copy of this presentation through that WhatsApp communication, he responded by saying, General Khan will brief you next week. There's only one General Khan in the South African Police Service, so is one Lieutenant General Sibiya in the South African Police Service. I've never heard of any other Lieutenant Generals in any other way in the security cluster in the country with the very same names. So I assume these are the colleagues that I know very well. He further wrote on the very same WhatsApp message. He said that, I quote, the minister is briefed. He has just arrived in Lusikisiki, end quote. You will recall, colleagues, that we had an incident in Lusikisiki, a mass murder that happened there. And the Minister of Police had gone visiting the families and that crime scene. So after this communication, the Provincial Commissioner called the Chief of Staff, Mr. Nkabinde, the Chief of Staff of the Minister of Police, and asked the Chief of Staff, who is this Brown Mkhwanazi? This Brown Mkhwanazi seems to be traveling with the Minister to Lusikisiki. Who is he? Because I've never heard of him. The response from the Chief of Staff was that Mr. Brown Mkhwanazi is an associate of the Minister, but is not employed in a department. That's when I got a confirmation about Mr. Brown Mkhwanazi. And I asked the Chief of Staff to send the phone number of this Brown Mkhwanazi, of which he did. It is that number that made me to confirm that indeed the person who's sending me WhatsApp messages is the same person that is called Brown Mkhwanazi and is from Northwest. On the 5th of March 2025, the South African Police appeared before the Portfolio Committee in Parliament. A presentation was made to this Portfolio Committee by the Provincial Commission of KwaZulu-Natal, which included the allegations of an associate of the Minister of Police, Mr. Brown Mkhwanazi. The Minister denied on record. Go and Google a visual presentation to the Portfolio Committee on the 5th of March this year, towards the end of that briefing, where the Minister of Police responded and he said he does not know this Mr. Brown Mkhwanazi. He said that in Parliament. However, the Minister confirmed that he knows this Mr. Brown Mkhwanazi during the telephone conversation that he had, which was posted on X under the handler at Load Care. This was on the 30th of March, where he confirmed that this was his comrade from Northwest. The conversation between the minister and that lady is available. You can go on X and find it on the 30th. If it has been removed from that account as we finish this briefing, I'll share that with you. The evidence has been found in the cell phone of Mr. Vusimus, also known as Cat Matlala, which shows the communication between Mr. Brown Mkhwanazi and the Minister of Police, Mr. Senzo Mchunu. As I said, this was the beginning of the closure of the political task team. I've tried to outline some sequence of events. I had said the team left for Gauteng to go and assist organized crime in Gauteng. There was a shooting incident that had occurred in April 2024, where Mr. Swart, a QTech employee, was fatally shot while entering the company premises. QTech has been a long-standing service provider to Transnet. Shortly after the incident, 3 suspects including a warrant officer, a South African Police Service warrant officer, a detective Tau Pule, were arrested in Johannesburg. During the arrest, weapons that were used in this murder, which was an AK-47 and a pistol, along with cell phones, were confiscated. I must applaud the team in Gauteng who had effected this arrest before the arrival of the team in KZN. It is the challenges that this investigating team of Gauteng encountered that led into the invitation to the KwaZulu-Natal police to go and assist.
It all began on the 27th of June 2025, when General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi dropped a political bombshell. Standing boldly before the nation, he accused Minister Senzo Mchunu of being at the heart of organized crime. According to Mkhwanazi, Minister Mchunu unlawfully disbanded the Political Killings Task Team, a crucial unit that had cracked over 600 cases, secured over 100 convictions, and dealt with politically motivated murders and syndicates in KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng. The general also exposed Mchunu's alleged ties to Vusimuzi Cat Matlala, an accused tender fraudster who is believed to have bankrolled Mchunu's political events. Procurement interference, suppression of investigations, collusion with criminals. The list of accusations is long, dark, and serious. But what was the motive behind it? Mkhwanazi claimed he could no longer remain silent in the face of high-level corruption. Corruption that was not just weakening the police force, but killing South Africa's moral center.
These institutions are the South African Police Service, the National Prosecuting Authority, State Security Agency, the Judiciary and the Magistracy, and the Metropolitan Police Departments of Johannesburg, Ekurhuleni, and Tshwane. The Commission will also investigate whether any members of the National Executive responsible for the criminal justice system were complicit, aided and abetted, or participated in the acts mentioned above. The Commission will be asked to report on the effectiveness or failures of oversight mechanisms and the adequacy of current legislation, policies, and institutional arrangements in preventing such infiltration. It will make findings and recommendations for criminal prosecutions, disciplinary actions, and institutional reform. Once established, the Commission shall consider prima facie evidence relating to the involvement of individuals who are currently employed within law enforcement or intelligence agencies. Where appropriate, the Commission must make recommendations on the employment status of such officials currently employed, including whether they should be suspended pending the outcome of further investigations. The Commission will have the power to refer matters for immediate investigation and urgent decisions on prosecution, taking into account the nature of the allegations and the evidence the Commission will uncover. It is critical that these matters be attended to with the necessary urgency and thoroughness. The Commission is expected to complete its work and submit a final report to the President. Interim reports will be expected after 3 months and 6 months, respectively. The final report of the Commission will be sent to the Speaker of the National Assembly and to the Chief Justice. Acting Deputy Chief Justice Madlanga is retiring from the Constitutional Court at the end of July 2025 after years of distinguished service, and will therefore be able to give his full attention and time to the work of this Commission. In order for the Commission to execute its functions effectively, I have decided to put the Minister of Police, Mr. Senzo Mchunu, on leave of absence with immediate effect. The Minister has undertaken to give his full cooperation to the Commission to enable it to work properly. I have decided to appoint Professor Firoz Kachalia as Acting Minister of Police. Professor Kachalia is currently a Professor of Law at the University of the Witwatersrand and is the Chairperson of the National Anti-Corruption Advisory Council. He previously served as an MEC of Community Safety in Gauteng. I'm appointing Professor Kachalia in terms of Section 91(3) subsection C of the Constitution, which empowers the Constitution to select no more than 2 ministers from outside the National Assembly. Professor Kachalia will be retiring from his current position at the University of Witwatersrand at the end of July this year. I will, in the interim, appoint an acting minister from within cabinet until Professor Kachalia takes up his post at the beginning of August. The interregnum, therefore, will be just a little over 2 weeks. This commission is being established against the backdrop of significant progress that has been made in rebuilding and strengthening our country's law enforcement agencies and security services. In recent years, the South African Police Service, the Special Investigating Unit, the SIU, and the Asset Forfeiture Unit and other bodies have been making great progress and inroads in the fight against organized crime and corruption. It is essential that we maintain this momentum and that we intensify the work that is currently underway. We will ensure that the South African Police Service and other law enforcement agencies continue to function without hindrance as the Commission undertakes its work. I call on all members of our law enforcement agencies, as well as security services, to remain steadfast in upholding the rule of law of our country and adhering to their code of conduct. I therefore call on all South Africans to support the Commission in the work that it is going to do where appropriate, and to provide any information or assistance the Commission may require. In establishing this Commission of Inquiry, we are affirming our commitment to the rule of law, to transparency, and to accountability. And we are also enhancing the work that is underway to build a South Africa in which all our people are safe and secure. I thank you.
Till when, South Africa? Till when will we sit and watch our country sink in a sea of lawlessness while leaders we trust protect the very criminals destroying our nation? When illegal acts committed in broad daylight are legitimized by political power, is this still a democracy or a stage for elite mafias to play their games? Why must truth-tellers like General Mkhwanazi risk their careers while the accused enjoy paid leave? Why are whistleblowers punished and not the perpetrators? But just hours after the president's statement, the economic freedom fighters issued a scathing letter. In it, they not only reject the president's decision, but argue that he violated the Constitution. They accuse Ramaphosa of protecting a criminal, misusing state resources, and illegally appointing an acting minister from outside the cabinet.
President should fire Mchunu with immediate effect. Mchunu came with a baggage. He's not old in the job, he's very new, but already tainted. This is a man who went to that institution to go and do wrong things. You want our people to have confidence again in the police. You have to fire the executive authority and then put order. If there are generals that have misbehaved, the National Commissioner should act on those generals. and then we start dealing with crime. The role of the police is to deal with crime, not to connive with criminals.
The Economic Freedom Fighters, EFF, is appalled by the decision of President Cyril Ramaphosa to place Minister Senzo Mchunu on special leave instead of removing him entirely from his position. This so-called special leave is a cowardly deflection designed to shield a corrupt minister whose involvement in organized crime has been laid bare by KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. We additionally reject the legally and constitutionally baseless decision by the President to appoint an acting Minister of Police who is not a current member of Cabinet. This is a direct violation of Section 98 of the Constitution, which states, "The President may assign to a minister any power or function of another minister who is absent or otherwise unable to fulfill the functions of office." It is clear from this provision that only a sitting minister may be assigned the functions of another. The Constitution makes no room for the appointment of an acting minister from outside Cabinet. Additionally, President Ramaphosa relies on Section 91, subsection 3(c) of the Constitution to justify his election of an acting minister, which states, "The President may select no more than 2 ministers from outside the Assembly." Evidently, this section does not speak at all to the appointment of an acting minister, nor does it make provisions for the appointment of an acting minister outside of the National Assembly. The President's decision is therefore not just unlawful, but a deliberate abuse of the supreme law of the land. This decision is not only illegal, it is also a flagrant abuse of state resources. It allows Senzo Mchunu to continue drawing a full ministerial salary under the guise of special leave, while the President unlawfully bloats the cabinet by appointing someone not lawfully entitled to serve in that role. The South African people are being forced to fund the lavish lifestyle of a criminal while he consolidates power and undermines whistleblowers from behind the scenes. Mchunu is no longer just a political figure. He is the face of an entrenched criminal syndicate operating within the state. He is directly implicated in ordering the disbandment of the Political Killings Task Team, a highly effective investigative unit that had handled over 600 politically motivated cases, secured over 100 convictions, dozens of life sentences, and over 1,800 years in combined prison terms. Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi revealed that the disbandment, done without authorization from either the national or provincial commissioners, was executed by SAP's Crime Detection Deputy Commissioner Lieutenant General Sibia on direct instruction from Minister Mchunu. These actions resulted in the withdrawal of over 120 case dockets, most of them relating to political assassinations, traditional leader killings, and organized criminal activity in Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal. Moreover, Minister Mchunu is implicated in colluding with an accused criminal and SAP's tender beneficiary, Vusimuzi Kat Matlala, who allegedly funded his political activities and events hosted by the ANC. His interference in procurement processes and the attempted suspension of Commissioner Mkhwanazi to obstruct investigations further demonstrate that Mchunu is not a custodian of law, but a protector of lawlessness. The gravity of the allegations made by Lieutenant Mkhwanazi are therefore beyond dispute. Minister Mchunu is not a mere bystander. He is a central player in a criminal enterprise that has captured key institutions of the state. As a result, mere special leave is an insufficient intervention and a clear attempt to cover up President Ramaphosa's own lack of political will to confront a mafia network that benefits him and his party. We remind the nation that this is not the first time the EFF has warned of the ANC's deep involvement in criminal syndicates embedded within the state. These revelations confirm what we have long argued. The ANC is no longer a governing party. It is a mafia organization, where political office is weaponized to shield gangsters, redirect tenders, and silence accountability. There is no genuine renewal within the ANC. There is no accountability. There is only deceit, deflection, and the preservation of criminal interests. To allow Mchunu the courtesy of special leave is to spit in the face of all South Africans demanding justice and clean governance. Minister Mchunu must be removed, arrested, prosecuted, and compelled to reveal the full network of this criminal syndicate, from political handlers to rogue elements in the SAPS and the judiciary. Nothing less will suffice. The EFF further reiterates its call for the urgent establishment of an ad hoc committee of the National Assembly to investigate the damning revelations made by Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. No one, regardless of political affiliation, must be above the law. According to Section 98 of the South African Constitution, only a current cabinet minister can take over another minister's duties. The EFF argues that Ramaphosa's decision violates that clause. And Section 91, subsection 3C, which the president cited, it talks about appointing ministers from outside parliament, but not acting ministers. The letter frames this as a deliberate abuse of constitutional authority. So is the president bending the law to protect a friend? Or is he, as some analysts say, too compromised to act?
There are two maybe that I can talk about. One is from the DA, where they said the president has outsourced the executive function from himself to the commission. If you think about it, within the establishment of SARS, NPA, and all these state institutions, there are provisions for disciplining and bringing back to good order any employees of those institutions who have transgressed their job descriptions, their conditions of employment, and the code of conduct within those institutions. So that work, the president, could issue instructions that must be attended to immediately, perhaps even with the help of the Public Service Commission, to make sure that the HR processes are brought into place. Those who have violated internal controls that protect the assets and the good governance inside the institution, the Office of the Accountant General within National Treasury could assist with that to make sure that internal controls are fully implemented, and any other recommendations that have already come from the Auditor General, etc., etc. And also, he could have deployed the SIU immediately to actually attend to maladministration, malpractice, and general corruption within that cluster as a whole. So indeed, he didn't need a commission for that. We already have fully funded infrastructure and capabilities to deal with that issue. The EFF has raised the issue that actually the appointment of an acting minister from outside of the cabinet and outside of parliament is against the law. There is no law that makes a provision for such an appointment. So the appointment of Firoz Kachalia then means that at first he should be appointed as a minister and then appointed as an acting minister. So that's another legal rigmarole that we might get into later on. But overall, I think the pronouncement by the president, to my mind, showed me a president who's cornered and captured by certain influential forces within the country. He can't deal directly and decisively with issues that are well within his reach. I was very disappointed.
One thing is clear. This is no longer just about Senzo Mchunu. This is about a system, a culture, a rot so deep it swallows truth, law, and conscience. Will South Africa wake up? Will institutions stand up? Or are we watching the slow burial of justice in real time? This is Ivy Smithy for Daily Cast News. Stay informed, stay questioning, and remember, corruption wins when we stop asking why.